So there's an influx of things I'm seeing online recently, and it's a very particular subject, and I want to talk about it. The subject of the matter is all around money and musicians not earning enough money, basically. Yes, I'm fully aware that the idolization and the dream of being that struggling artist, that struggling musician is a thing that many have kind of looked up to for years, but there's been a couple of videos and articles coming out recently and being shared recently that kind of makes me glad that I didn't carry on doing live music. Now, that's not to say that I didn't love doing it and I wouldn't kill to be back on stage, because the feeling of being on stage with a band is one of the best that you'll ever get. It's something that I cannot describe to you. It is such a unique feeling and I do miss it dearly. However, with being a musician and being a musician that's trying to make it big, it's a lot of hard work that 90% of the time, maybe 99% of the time, doesn't pay off. And the reason why I'm making this video is because over the years, I haven't felt like I've seen too many people talk about this, or at least I haven't seen it, so that might be my bad. Being a musician or being a professional musician is one of the hardest things that you can do as a career, as a creative person, because music feels like it's dying. Well, it doesn't, but it kind of does at the same time. The two things I'm going to reference right now is an article that I've seen on Metal Injection and this reel that I saw taken from a radio show. I've got the article here on my phone, so it's easier for me to, read out to you rather than going back and forth from my PC. So a few days ago, Metal Hammer posted an article about this band who has admitted that they're broke. Witch Fever, who's the band in question, has said this: "We're broke. We can't get jobs. And we just did 2 months in arenas and stadiums." One of the UK's best young bands have revealed their depressing reality of playing rock music in 2026. One of the most highly rated young rock bands in Britain have revealed that they are struggling to make ends meet despite having just played some of Europe's biggest venues. Witch Fever, who recently completed an arena tour of Europe with Danish rockers Volbeat, claim they are broke, painting a depressing picture of the continuing struggles facing upcoming bands. So we're broke, and we just did 2 months in arenas. We can't get jobs because we're back on tour in March and nowhere will hire us. This is just crazy that this is what the music industry is like at the minute. I'm currently living off of £4,000, my late mother's pension, that is obviously rapidly running out. So it's quite depressing landscape at the moment. Their bassist has also said, "We did 2 months in arenas and stadiums. We played Wembley and our profit is all stuck in withholding taxes across Europe." And unfortunately, this isn't the first time that something like this has happened. And in 2023, a band called The Agonist had to cancel a whole string of summer shows because of fear of losing a dangerous amount of money. This isn't the first time I've seen this. I saw it in an interview with Baby No Money last year, saying that he was going on a whole tour around the UK and Europe. He would be losing a substantial amount of money, but he wanted to do it because it would bring joy to his fans and it could also open himself out to more people and more opportunities. With all that being said, there's another interview by Kate Nash where she says that by doing a UK tour and festival shows, she's hoping to make no profit and just not be in the red, whereas where it stands to her making a US tour or a North American tour, she would be down 50 to 60 grand just because of the cost of everything. And it's not that she's not selling these shows out, it's not that she's not able to sell these tickets and get these fans to buy her merchandise and turn up and do everything. But to cover the costs of everything that needs to be done to put these shows on, you're losing out so much money, and it makes them think, is this a passion project? Is this a hobby? Or is this something that they're trying to make work? And she even goes on to say that if this was a normal job, anyone would tell her that what she's doing is not worth it. But then she goes on to talk about companies like Spotify and Live Nation that are making millions off of, streaming and ticket sales and so on and so forth. It almost feels like what the musicians are doing are not worth it because they're not even getting their heads above water. And that is a big thing that I'm seeing on social media. Kate Nash was on BBC Radio and has a #1 hit single, and she can sell all those tickets, but even she is worried about losing money and getting her head above water. It's crazy. This is why I started my video off by saying is music dying? That idea of the struggling musician praying and hoping to make it big. You're not going to make it big, because even if you do make it big, you're not going to be able to eat. You're not going to be able to afford a way to live. And it's horrifying to think that's the way music is going. Now, I don't want this video to be all doom and gloom and everything, because music is such an important part in history, in our lives and our futures, and the way that we create this art is so important to the development of who we are as people. I think personally it's something that we can't live without. Even through centuries of history, music has changed and developed and expressed emotions in so many different ways and got people to relate to it. And I think right now is a time when we can relate to it almost more than ever, because there's a lot going on in the world right now, and it's hard, it's rough. I just want to urge people to keep on making and creating and putting your spark out there, because who knows, maybe one day you will get seen and you will get picked up. And I'm trying to release music and put myself out there, but I'm not trying to make it big. I'm trying to just express myself, and if anything happens, it happens, great. But I'm unfortunately not going to be the starving artist, because as much as I would love to put all my heart and soul and time and effort into it, I've got a house to pay for, I've got a car to pay for, I've got mouths to feed. And unfortunately, for the romanticized idea of the struggling musician, that's just not how this world works. You can find links to the articles and interviews that I've mentioned in this video down below in the description. And if you've watched this video and taken the time for this, thank you, I really appreciate it. And keep creating, keep putting yourself out there, and don't let something like this stop your expression. See you next time.